Today we're going to be going over how to properly inspect fixed fire detection and alarm systems. Now we're going to be inspecting these systems. A couple things to be mindful of. Obviously be properly equipped with your regular PPE. And then as far as anything electrical, we're going to need to be looking out for proper wiring. Ensure we have no loose wires, exposing yourself to any electrical shock. And in addition, to offset loud areas such as the engine room, these systems are generally going to be alarming very loudly, so ensure that you are wearing your proper hearing protection at time of inspection. So as with any other vessel for the most part that we'd be inspecting, a lot of these vessels all have a myriad of plans, whether that's safety plan, security plan, general arrangements plan. As it pertains specifically to the fire detection system, the safety plan and general arrangements plan are the one we're going to want to be paying close particular attention to. With specific regard to the fire detection points and alarms as they're positioned throughout the vessel on these plans, it should be a clear indication of what type of detection is in a certain area and exactly where that's located. So for example, you'd be looking out for, these are many of the universal signs you'll see on these plans. Smoke detection, heat detection, flame detection, just to name a few. So when you're reviewing these plans, as you're walking through the vessel as well, you want to be verifying that these alarm and detection points are where they say they are on the plan itself. Next we'll get into the inspection of the physical detection and alarm units themselves. It's a pretty generalized inspection as you're going through the vessel. You just want to be ensuring that the material condition is satisfactory, keeping an eye out for anything that looks very clearly damaged, or if it looks brand new compared to something else, that may raise questions as to something being newly installed. But yeah, for the most part, you're just looking through, checking the wiring again for any loose wiring, any damage to the detection units itself. In this case, we have a heat detector. The wiring looks sufficient, it looks properly installed. Again, it's a very general overview. We just want to make sure that the condition of the units themselves are satisfactory. Okay, so now a trend you'll start to notice a lot on a lot of these inspected vessels is a lot of the equipment that is on board has to be of an approved type. And for example, here we have the example of heat detection in the galley space. Again, we're just going over the fact that it has to be of an approved type. There's something you can verify on here. You can read the numbering in there as far as the specifics of what type of detection corresponds with what types of approval. You have certain smoke detectors that have to be approved to a certain type. This varies from vessel to vessel. But the main thing to focus on now is to ensure that when you come across a smoke detector or a heat detector or a flame detector, it's not an item that they might have just picked up at the dollar store, and that is an approved type. You can find that within their paperwork of their annual inspections, and again on the unit itself, so you can verify that it's been approved. So now that we've verified that the vessel's plans make sense with the arrangements, and that all the equipment itself is properly approved, we need to get into making sure that the system itself actually works. So while we're on board, we're going to want to see an operational test. Clear indicators of this working or not is obviously the noise. You'll be able to tell. You should be able to hear anywhere on this vessel that a fire alarm is going off. Additionally, particularly in the engine room where it might be extra loud and you're going to have trouble hearing, you need a visual indicator, which would be the light here. And then additionally, we'll be able to see on the control panel that the system is activated, where it's been activated, etc. That's something we can get into later. But for now, we're just witnessing the operational test to hear that we get an alarm and then we get a visual indicator. So now we'll move on to some just general operational tests of individual detectors themselves. As far as the type and location and all that stuff, they should all be able to be readily tested if called upon. For this example here, it's just a regular old smoke detector, and as it operates similarly to anyone at home, you go ahead and just hold the button, and now we've assured that this detector itself works properly. Something to be on the lookout for with the heat detectors is that they're testing those properly. Sometimes people will just hold an open flame to it. Obviously less than ideal. There's better ways to go about it. But in this case, very simple, just push, hold, and ensure that the detector itself works properly. Next, we're going to be verifying the presence of a zone diagram or chart, kind of outlaying where all these detection points are so you can more readily locate exactly what alarm points are going off so we can identify where the fire is. Typically, that chart or diagram is located near the fire panel itself. In this case, it's not really a chart, but a similar goal will be met on how the panel itself is laid out. It'll clearly be identifying which zone. This is a smaller vessel, so the only zones we have in particular here are the galley, the engine room, the generator room. So on this panel itself, you'll be able to identify which zone is being tested, where there's an alarm, or where you're just getting a trouble alarm from one of the units. So now we'll get into verifying the proper operation of the fire panel itself, ensuring that upon arrival up here, we can take a look to see that no fault lights are indicated in here to make sure everything's wired correctly and that there's, like I said, no faults in the line itself. Additionally, we can run the tests throughout the vessel to trip any alarms, and they should be indicating the location up here for where that alarm has been tripped off, so that we can quickly identify where a fire may be located and where that alarm itself is coming from. Okay, so last step in the process here really is just for us to do a little auditing. We're not going to be on these vessels all the time, all year round. So we have to trust the third parties that are coming out here and verifying that this equipment is working at all times as designed. So real easy way to do that when we come out is to just verify that third parties have been coming out, conducting their annual testing and maintenance that is called for in the vessel's procedures. And it's just, like I said, it's just another quick check that we make, and you're just checking paperwork to ensure that everything's been done in accordance with the vessel's procedures. Okay, and now to summarize what we've gone over today as far as the inspecting of fire detection and alarm systems. We started by identifying the hazards and cautions and PPE associated with inspecting this item. We verified the locations are marked properly on the safety plan and general arrangements plan. We verified the presence of the zone chart diagram and instructions for operation and testing of the system. We verified the system is in fact in operation with no faults indicated. We verified proper installation of all detection points. We verified type approval of said points. We witnessed the operational test of both audible and visual alarms. We verified fire detection and alarm are on an emergency circuit. We verified the operation of detectors. We verified location of all call points. We verified the system is maintained in accordance with manufacturer specifications and the maintenance certificate. And we've also verified the independent module smoke extraction system is in working order if applicable. Now, if there's any particular questions you may have on any of these items that we've covered today, feel free to dig into more detail and bring those questions to your local VO, and they'll be able to get you taken care of.